and welcome. My name is Todd Sloan, and I'm a member of the job search team at Rochester Works, and I want to welcome you to Job Search Preparation. The goals for this workshop are several. First of all, we're going to simply learn about what is Rochester Works and some of the services that we can assist you with. Secondly, we really want to focus today on what are some of the challenges that are unique to today's job market, and look at specific strategies that can help you overcome those challenges. The market today isn't what it used to be, and by knowing what works and what doesn't, you can use your time much more effectively. We also want to let you know about some of our services if you're not actively looking for work at the moment, but you're considering a career change or training or not sure what your goal is. Some of the services we have that can assist you with that. Rochester Works is Monroe County's largest employment and training initiative. We're really dedicated to helping job seekers achieve their job goals in the community. And on a bigger scale, our mission is to support local economic growth in Monroe County and the surrounding region. We have 3 locations. You can find our website and our addresses and phone numbers on the last page of this video. Now I'd like to talk about some of the common challenges in today's job market. And for each of these, we're going to look at strategies that can help you to be more effective in your search. One of the most common issues that we find for job seekers is submitting resumes and just not getting any kind of response or very low response. Another issue for some folks can be getting interviews and getting meetings, but not having those convert into a job offer. Additionally, sometimes folks find that they are not prepared for the types of questions that employers might be asking today. So we're going to look at some of the more challenging questions, some of the different types of questions that employers ask, and how you can prepare for that. There are 4 keys that are very useful to think about when we look at being successful in today's market. Communication, using the internet, considering temp to hire or contract work, and lastly, the life cycle of a job lead, particularly when you think about it from an employer's point of view. These are all important elements to look at. Knowing what works and what doesn't can save you a lot of time and a lot of effort in your search. So we're going to look at each one of those now. Communication is the key to the entire process from when you first find a job lead until you land your next job. And the 3 elements that we look at and want you to think about are, first of all, something we call a 45-second commercial. This is simply how you introduce yourself. If someone were to ask you, what is your job goal? Or maybe you're informally meeting with an employer or formally in an interview and they ask you, tell me about yourself. Can you describe in 45 seconds or less who you are, what you're good at, and what your goal is? There are a lot of people out there who will help you towards your goal, but they will only help you if they know what your goal is. So this is really essential, and if you can't do this, we would encourage you to come in and we can help you with introducing yourself in a strong and compelling way. Resumes are the second element of communication. Your 45-second commercial is speaking to someone. A resume speaks for you. It speaks in writing. Most of the time when someone's looking at it, you are not there. So you want your resume to be very clear, and most of the time a resume is used when there's a specific job on the table. So you want to make it very clear and very easy for an employer to see that you have what they're looking for. Most challenges that people have around resumes are sending them out and hearing nothing back. In our experience, a lot of the time that is about having a resume that's all about you, but that's really not about the particular job that the employer is looking to have done. So if you're putting a lot of resumes out there and you're not getting good results, you're not getting calls back for interviews, we would encourage you to come on in and we'll look at how you can customize and target your resume to a specific job lead. And really, quite honestly, resumes aren't about getting a job. Resumes are about getting an interview. So if your resume is working for you and you're getting a lot of interviews but you're not getting offers, you want to make sure that you are prepared for what types of interviews are out there. What types of questions are employers asking? And most importantly, how can you really show them, not just in paper, but when you're face-to-face with them, that you are the person that they should select for that next position? So let's suppose you have a good working resume and you present yourself well, a good 45-second commercial, and you've prepared for interviews. You still have to find job leads, and there are a variety of ways to do that. Some good, some bad, some somewhere in between. So if you've been using some of the sites you'll see here, Monster.com, CareerBuilder, Indeed, there's many of them out there. What is the difference from one to the next? Understanding this is really key, because you can spend a lot of time sending resumes out to the internet with very little results, or you can spend your time more effectively. So we're going to look at the differences in these types of sites and how to get the most from them. So the first type of job site we're going to look at are sites like Monster, CareerBuilder, Rochester's Help Wanted. These are paid sites. Now understand, as a job seeker, you don't have to pay to use them, to search for leads on them, and you don't have to pay to put your resume on these sites. The employer pays to post a job lead on these sites. And the reason this is important to understand is, first of all, if you can pay, you can post something here. So that means not only are job leads posted here, but also advertisements for training programs or some even outright scams. But they're a paid site, paid for by the person who's promoting the job lead or other opportunity. They're nice because they are a searchable database, and if you do know the types of job titles that you're looking for, the types of keywords, you can find leads there. And we'll talk a little more about these when we get into the life cycle of a job lead, but one important thing to know is a lot of times by the time a job is posted here, it has been posted in a number of other places first. So when you find them here, you're finding leads that are later in the cycle and that probably a lot of other people have found as well. Now the second type of job search engine are meta search engines. The three biggest examples would be Indeed, Job Central, and Simply Hired. They're similar to a Google. Google is a meta search engine. It goes out and crawls the internet for information. Indeed, Job Central, and Simply Hired goes out and crawls the internet for job leads. So when you do a search on a meta search engine, you're not just searching that site. You're searching I don't want to say the entire internet, but a good portion of the internet with one keyword search. So let's say you go to Indeed, for example. You're going to find job leads there that come from CareerBuilder, that come from Monster, that come from Rochester Help Wanted. So this is a very powerful tool that can save you time because it's hitting multiple sources. Another nice feature that is available in the meta search engines and also in the paid sites is something called a search agent. And what you can do, once you find some good keywords that are getting you good leads for the types of work you want to pursue, you can actually have these search agents set up to look for any new leads that meet your criteria and push them right to your inbox by email. Another popular place to look for job leads would be the websites for staffing agencies. And the handout that you'll get with this, which is downloadable, will have some of the local agencies and their websites. There are a lot of agencies in our area, some of them very general, some of them really focus on particular areas. So if you're looking to use staffing agencies or employment agencies, you definitely would want to target the ones that focus in your particular area. One benefit is they often are continuously recruiting. That means you can get a really good snapshot of the types of jobs they are recruiting for, the types of skills you want to market. The downside to that is they may be posting a job lead that they really don't have a specific opening for at a particular company right now. So there's both a plus and a minus to using an agency website. Craigslist is another really good resource for identifying job leads. One big plus to Craigslist is free for anyone to post. That includes employers. So if an employer is looking to promote a job lead and they have a choice between a free Craigslist and a paid CareerBuilder, they're very likely to go to Craigslist first. So you're going to find leads here that may never make it to some of the big boards. That's a real advantage. But Craigslist has some risks associated with it too, particularly since it is local. There are postings on Craigslist that are really just scams or fronts or ways to try to get your personal information, such as where you live, that kind of thing. So you have to be careful with Craigslist. You're really going to want to use a different strategy to respond to a Craigslist ad. You're not going to want to disclose a lot of personal information up front, and you're going to want to make sure to have some tools in hand to screen those leads and make sure that they're legitimate. We really encourage folks to come in and learn more about the do's and don'ts of responding to Craigslist ads. Another useful source for finding job leads, or really in a more general way, looking at possible companies you might want to work for, even if they're not hiring, is to go right to a company website. Learn more about the organization. Many of them have a careers or job opportunities area where you can see leads that they have posted. This is a much more proactive way of job searching. You can actually, as you learn about a company, maybe you discover they do hire people with your skills. If they're not hiring now, you can still oftentimes submit a resume, or really one of the key strategies here is you can actually sit down maybe and have a meeting with someone at that company when there is not a job on the table, when there's not as much stress for you or for them. Learn about the organization, and then they will keep you in mind in the future. It's always good to check company websites. Many of these, especially the larger companies, they are going to be crawled by Indeed or Job Central or Simply Hired. But the mid-size and smaller companies, they may never be caught by some of those other sources. So we generally recommend, once you identify these companies, and we talk about how to do that in some of our live workshops, but once you've identified your target companies, be looking at them on a regular basis and looking for opportunities to talk to people who work there. One of the things that's often talked about in the job search process is the hidden job market. And looking at company websites is where you're starting to get into that hidden market. When you're looking at it Indeed or a Career Builder, those are job leads that are visible to the planet Earth. These leads on company websites, or targeting companies that don't even have openings yet, now you're starting to look at opportunities that aren't visible to the general public. So that's very important. We also want to talk about some important resources through Rochester Works that can help you get connected with companies. And these also often are local employers who are currently hiring, or they anticipate hiring, and who have a good working relationship with us here at Rochester Works. A couple key things to be aware of. Every Monday at Rochester Works we have Recruiting Round Rochester. The companies that come in and the times that they appear may change. The day of the week could even change, but you can always find that on our website. We're at rochesterworks.org. And if you click on the link that says Hot Jobs, you'll find out the next time that Recruiting Round Rochester has happened, the organizations that are going to be there, and the types of positions that they're recruiting for. It's a great way to get face-to-face with an employer here at Rochester Works. The Hot Jobs link that I mentioned, not only does it have the upcoming employers for Recruiting Round Rochester, but it also has selected job leads from employers that we work with here at Rochester Works on a regular basis. Now, technically, these aren't hidden jobs because they're visible to anyone who goes to our site, but it is important to know that a lot of times these positions or these employers come to us first to post their job leads on our site. So as I mentioned, the Hot Jobs link on our homepage will point you to Recruiting Round Rochester. And if you scroll down from there, you will see job leads from local employers that we work with on a regular basis. Technically, these are not hidden job leads because anyone who goes to our website can see them. However, it's important to know that these are employers that we work with on a regular basis, and they will often come to us first and have us post jobs here before they're necessarily out there on the internet. Hot Jobs is updated at the end of every week. We encourage people to go there over the weekend or Friday evening and look at what is new so that you can kind of pursue those as they become live. Lastly, at Rochester Works, not only do we have this website which delivers some information to you at home, but also workshops and networking events on site as well. In fact, we offer close to 100 workshops a month. You can find our calendar on our website by clicking on the Job Seeker button, and you'll see a link for the calendar for all of our sites there. Probably, if you look at the different sources for leads on the internet that we just talked about, whether it's a Career Builder or an Indeed or agency sites, Craigslist, corporate site or Rochester Works. In addition to going right to our site, there are 2 workshops that are very helpful with how to get the best results from your internet strategies, and that would be the Job Search Management Workshop or our Job Network, which meets on a weekly basis. Next, we're going to look at temp to hire and contract work and how that plays out in today's job market. So things to be aware of is why businesses would use recruiting agencies to fill positions on a temporary basis or on a contract basis. First of all, because the economy has obviously been in a rough spot of late, employers are very cautious about bringing people on full-time. So they often use an agency to screen candidates and contract or temporary assignments because they don't want to make a commitment to paying benefits. They honestly don't want to have to let people go if things don't go as well as they hope. So they often will bring people on in those situations. They may often have the hopes that the position will become permanent, but they want to be upfront with folks and let them know it's either a temporary or contract position initially. Also, there has been a shift in terms of the selection process with a real emphasis on, do people fit within the culture of an organization? And fit is very important when you look at retaining employees in the long term. So from a business's point of view, they may protect themselves by creating a temp or contract position from a financial point of view, but also it's really a way to check somebody out and allow them to see how they fit within the organization. Now, the reason this is important for you, and you would want to consider this, is based on what we've said, it is very possible that a contract position or a temporary position might convert to a long-term position. But even if it doesn't, even if it's a short-term job, it's often an opportunity to gain skills and experience, to update your resume, and often can be a nice opportunity to gain some additional references or recommendations during those placements. So now we're going to take a look at the life cycle of a job lead as it progresses from the first person who becomes aware that there's a need at a business through some of the areas where job leads are very, very visible, not only to the community but really to the planet itself. So typically the first people to become aware of a need, a business need, or an opportunity for a position would be the owner of a business if it's a smaller business, or the leadership in an organization, or the human resources department. And typically, what many organizations will do, and there are variations on this cycle, but this is a really good way to think about it. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to talk to current employees or friends and family of current employees to look for talent to fill those positions. Most of the time, obviously, this is a very inexpensive way to find talent, but also employees have a good understanding of what the work involves, what happens at the business, what the requirements are, and they'll often make a referral which is a pretty strong or credible referral. So that's one of the first steps that many organizations will do. If they have a corporate website, they'll oftentimes post a position on their corporate website which is not really an internal lead. Obviously that site could be seen by anyone, but only really, really astute job seekers who are looking at that organization are going to find that job lead. They have to know to go to that company site to do it. If at that point they haven't found enough resumes or applicants who have the required skills to interview and bring on board, they might look at professional groups or associations. They might also look at recruiters. Now, beyond the company website is where a job lead becomes more visible. And we've actually talked quite a bit about this visible market, and some of the tools we mentioned are on the slide you're looking at. This is where they might go to Rochester Works Hot Jobs. They might post a job on LinkedIn or Craigslist. Now, the main distinction there before they start talking to agencies or recruiters is they still haven't had to part with any money. And that's a really important part of this process. You have to know that once an employer has tried some of these venues and hasn't been able to find the talent they need, now they may look at an agency or recruiter, which is obviously a paid-for service, or some of those larger job search websites that we talked about earlier, Monster and Career Builder and others. Those are probably the two most well-known ones. So this latter part of the life cycle of a job lead is where leads really become visible, and we talk about this as the visible market. What we're going to focus on in the last part of this session is how to tap into what we call the hidden job market and find leads before half of the planet can find them. Understanding the life cycle of a job lead is key towards being someone who is found or makes themselves visible when there's a job opportunity that very few people may be aware of. Obviously, if you just look at it from the numbers, it's much nicer to be one of several or a few people being considered for a position than to be one of thousands who may have applied for a position on a monster career builder. So this is the hidden job market. And this is where you would look at corporate websites for companies that you're targeting that you know hire people with the kinds of skills that you have. It would also be building on your own personal network of friends and family, people you know socially or from prior work or from volunteer organizations. And really one of the keys to this is being willing to talk to people about your strengths, about your skills and talents, and to let them know that you're out there and you're looking for an opportunity to contribute to an organization. And they, in a sense, really become your eyes and ears to let you know about those opportunities in the hidden market. We really talk about this in depth a great deal at our networking workshops and our job search management workshops. It's a very important strategy that not many people are using. There's no one always do it this way or never do it this way approach to job search, but it is helpful to realize if you're only looking at big websites, you may be able to find a lot of leads, but you may not get many interviews because that's so competitive. When you look at the hidden market as well, it takes more time and a little more effort, but you often, within a few conversations or meetings, can be hearing about job leads that very few people are aware of. So as we look at the life cycle of a job lead and think about what you have been doing in your search, it's really all about how are you getting the most value for your time. So take a minute and think about, submitting an application, how do you know that worked? You got a call back for a phone screening or a face-to-face interview. If you're getting interviews and they're not converting or they are converting into offers, fantastic. But the key, once you understand the life cycle of a job lead, is to look at where are you spending your time and what results are you getting. At Rochester Works, we are here to help. So take a minute and think about what you might do differently, how you need to adjust your strategy. In a moment, we're going to talk about specific tools and resources here that can help you with that. But take a moment, even if you want to pause the video, and think about what changes do you need to make, what can you make today, and where will you need some additional support. So when you look at the overall process of finding your next job, here are some resources at Rochester Works that can help you with that. Specifically, if you want to focus on getting better responses to the resumes and applications you're putting out there, or getting more responses, a good place to start would be the Write Your Resume workshop or the Job Network. And both of those can be found on our calendar at rochesterworks.org. If you're finding you are getting good responses to the resumes and the applications that you're submitting, but you want to focus on converting those meetings to offers, we can assist you with that, whether it's planning, preparation, follow-up, or what happens at the interview. A couple excellent places to start would be Interviewing Beyond the Basics, Job Search Management, or the Job Network. And again, you can find those on our monthly calendars for any of our sites. Thank you very much for joining us today for Job Search Preparation Webcast. To learn more about Rochester Works and the services we offer, you can find us on the web at rochesterworks.org. We also have 2 conveniently located career centers. There's no appointment necessary. You can call us or stop in at 255 North Goodman Street or 276 Waring Road. The phone numbers are found on your screen. Please feel free to give us a call for hours and days that we are open. Thanks again for your time, and we wish you all the best for a successful job search.